Well, welcome back, design students. So when you start up After Effects, you'll more than likely see a screen that looks like this. This should look relatively familiar to you. And what you want to do is click New Project. And that should bring up your workspace. Make sure to look like my workspace that you're working in, the standard workspace right here. So the first thing we need to do is create a new composition. To do that, let's go to the composition item in the main menu and select New Composition. And we can just leave it named Comp1 and leave the settings the same here. It should be 1920 by 1080 and just click OK. And that will create a new composition right here in your composition area. And now we need a text layer. So let's select the text tool and click in the middle of the screen somewhere and type in text. You can type in whatever you want, but I'm just going to use the word text. And then let's go ahead and select the font. I think I'm going to select Impact for this one. It's a nice big blocky text, as I need to have the Select tool selected so I can select the whole text layer. So I'm just going to type in Impact. And then I'm going to scale it up. I'm going to make it bigger by selecting its size here and clicking and dragging. And I'm just going to move it sort of in the middle here. And then I think I'm going to adjust the space between the text by using the kerning setting, which is here. Space that out just a little bit. And then I think I'm going to adjust the height of it and maybe the width scale just a little bit. And now I want to align this exactly in the middle of the screen. So I'm going to go to Window and select the Align window, and that will pop up here. I want to select this one, the horizontal align, and the vertical align. And then I'm going to move it up some, and to do that, I'm going to come over here to the layer, open it up, and select its transform settings, and move it up in the Y position a little bit, like so, just to make sure I'm moving it straight. And the next thing we need to do is change its color. I could just click right here and change the color to something I like, but I think what I want to do is sort of have a gradient effect on it. Now we can use a gradient fill in Photoshop or Illustrator, but not in After Effects. For After Effects, we need to use an effect. And I could mess around in here and try to find all these, and there's lots and lots and lots of them. Or I could come over here to this area, click the Effects and Presets tab, and type in gradient. And what I want is a gradient ramp. So I'm going to select that and double click it, and that adds a gradient ramp to my text, and you can see that it's different. And I can select two colors here. I'm going to select a nice dark purple for my first color, and then for my second color I'm going to select black. Now I can adjust how this ramp works. If I scroll my mouse wheel and zoom out a little bit, you'll see 2 points here. The first one is the top point of the gradient, and the second one is the bottom point. So I can sort of adjust how that looks by just dragging those two things around. I can also adjust their position here as well. So now I'm going to zoom back in. And the second thing we need is our background. You should have downloaded this file from the project files area on the assignment. It looks like this. Once you've downloaded it, you need to import it. And to do that, you go to File, Import File, and you find the file. Mine happens to be in this folder that I created for this project. It's right here. And that will bring it in this area in your project bin. I'm going to drag this down to the composition and put it at the bottom. And then I'm going to zoom out, and you can clearly see that it's a different scale. So I'm just going to kind of scale it up a little bit and maybe move it. And then I'm going to zoom back in, and I'm going to blur this background to make sure that the text is what stands out. to do that, I'm going to go to Effect, Blur and Sharpen, Gaussian Blur. And then that effect setting pops up right here, and I'm just going to drag this until I get the amount of blur that I want. I'm going to go ahead and collapse this layer and close everything up. And in the next video, we're going to add the rest of the text layers, and we'll begin to animate some shapes. And I'll see you then.